After skizzing out the past few days, I finally got myself to review the Akari. The reason why this review has been delayed so much is just because I felt like I was the only one having certain issues, and I wasn't really sure if that was either due to QC or if I'm just the only one tripping or if I'm the only one being honest. But if you want to know everything possible about this pad, how it compares to the most relevant pads out there on the market, and just how smooth this surface actually is, definitely make sure to keep watching this video. Before we do any of that though, I want to mention that this pad was indeed sent out to me by Glassworks. Huge shout out to Takusi and Repair. And of course that will make my opinion about this mouse pad insanely biased, and I will be shilling it for the entirety of this video. I also do want to mention that if you're at all interested in peripheral enthusiast reviews like these, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell right next to it to be notified of any of my upcoming videos. And if you didn't know, I actually do also stream over on Twitch, where I mostly do unboxings, but lately I also started playing XDefine together with friends on stream. And since I've been enjoying that game so much, especially on Glass, I will most likely be doing that a lot more in the future. So first of all, if you didn't already know, the primary mind behind Glassworks is actually Tekusai, aka Takusi. He has been in the enthusiast scene for quite a bit and is a very known figure because he is the guy that runs Corrosion. But first of all, we get into the unboxing experience, which is pretty subtle. It is simply this large box, which just has some foam inside of it, and your glass pad will be here with some extra foam on top of the surface as well, and that's about it. The base on this pad is just a large sheet of silicone. It does have some texture to it so that it doesn't attract too much dust and also doesn't slip on your desk for not having any texture. This silicone sheet wasn't fully aligned perfectly on my unit, but it really doesn't matter. With that sheet taken into account, the base sits at around 3.5 to 3.75 millimeters. In terms of the cornering, these are not the most rounded edges out there, but I play with the pad in the center of my desk and I have never had any issues with this edge whatsoever. In terms of sleeves, I don't think that you need a sleeve on this pad whatsoever, and I come from an environment where it often hits those 28 degrees here in the end of spring already. My room currently sits at around 52% humidity. I've also recently had a humidifier running in my room and I have had very warm skin for sure, but I have never had my arm sticking on this pad. I could easily use this without a sleeve. However, when I do play Kovac scenarios like Smoothbot and my fingers get warm, the way that I grip my mouse, I have these 3 contact points, which are my ring finger, my pinky finger, and my thumb. And those 3 contact points will eventually sort of stutter when tracking and slightly annoy me and just make me not be able to do those scores as I would be able to do on a cloth pad for not having that issue over there. But that is solely an issue on Kovacs for me, and in any other game, the skin sticking issue is an absolute non-issue. It is not there. Getting into the design, this was originally created by an artist with a character sketch or an actual character artwork even. They were then going through an AI process together with the artist, so in that way you can't say that you're taking the job of an artist for using AI, because it was fully done together with the artist and they were paid in full as if they were hand drawn this entire thing. However, in my personal opinion, it does contribute to normalizing the usage of AI in artworks. I've already seen their upcoming design, and if you're asking me, man, that thing looks twice as good as this. And they also made sure to not use any implementation of AI, which I do find pretty based. They will be doing several limited editions in the future, and you will see the surface over and over again most likely, but always with small upgrades, because Tekusai is really passionate about this project. He's not here to just create one glass pad and sell it in a billion different colors. He's here to actually progress with not only the art but also the pad itself, because he does care a lot about the product. And I'm saying that because every single time I formed an opinion online about this product, he went into my DMs and I had to talk to him for hours to give him feedback and say what I actually do like and not like about this pad, because he wants that feedback. I personally have never had anybody reach out to me to that degree. Now, when it comes to the actual surface itself, it actually copes very well with a ton of different types of skates. Going over the surface itself, it does feel buttery fucking smooth, but I do have this issue where the dust particles and other types of specks are almost glued into the pad. So if I want to actually get fully rid of them, I need to take a damp microfiber cloth and wipe it down very harshly. Only then can I get most of those specks out. But other than that, even if there are those tiny specks that are kind of stuck into the surface of it, which I don't really have as an issue on the SkyPad 004 or other pads similar to that, I do not notice those tiny specks when I actually play in game, because those are not like real huge dust particles or large hairs getting into your skates and ruining the experience. Those are just micro specs that you sort of feel when paying attention to it. I will say here that me and Yuda, my Swiss friend, are the only ones being vocal about this issue, so it might just be either an environmental issue or perhaps even a QC issue of these two units, because we have not heard anybody else talking about this. So here I would most likely say that this is a non-issue for the average user out there, but I do want you to be aware of it because I need to be 100% transparent with you. Going over this pad with any types of skates, this is by far the quietest experience of any of my 9 glass pads that I have behind me. It is actually so quiet that if I go over it with something like Yancy dots, the skin touching my pad is louder than the skates themselves. And that is the perfect way to describe the actual experience of this pad. It is simply buttery smooth and also insanely quiet. And when you're not getting annoyed by those micro specs on a glass pad, it is an amazing experience, especially over on X-Defiant. It has been a while ago since I have been able to enjoy a glass pad this much, especially because the SkyPad 004 that I had to test before it actually released back then, I really didn't enjoy because it was very fast. Even faster than this Akari, which I already consider being decently fast. But with the right skate combo here, this thing is real endgame material in terms of glass pads compared to my other 9 pads that I have behind me. When I first received it, I was pretty bummed because when Takusai first pitched this new surface to me, he did tell me that it was more balanced and should be similar to an Empress. However, this is definitely not the case with this Akari because it is certainly faster than that, but it is not as hovery as something as the new SkyPad. In terms of skates on the Akari, my number one recommendation that I will give to you right now would be the Yancy Dots by ESPTIGER if you want a slightly faster and also super smooth experience. Normally, I'm really not the biggest fan of ESPTIGER skates, especially because their sizes are incredibly unnecessary, but these skates are definitely goated on glass, especially here on the Akari. The Obsidian Pros I would definitely stay away from here because those just completely ruin the whole shtick of the Akari, which is being the smoothest glass pad experience out there. But the regular Obsidian Dots are definitely something that I can recommend as well if you want more of a balanced type of glide and not something as fast as the Yancy Dots here. There are also the Cyclone skates by Ghost Glides, which apparently are the best skates ever for glass pads, but unfortunately I don't have those just yet because I'm receiving them together with the new Courage pad by Ghost Glides as well. And if you're on a budget, definitely go get the Ultra Glide skates, which are a direct alternative to the X-Ray pad Obsidians. Some people actually do vouch for X-Ray pad Jades if you want something super fast, but do keep in mind that those skates will be harder and more harsh feeling. Now, let's get into some comparisons. Compared to my WALLHACK SP004, the Akari does feel smoother to the skin and also on the skates. My skin definitely feels slightly more sticky on the WALLHACK pad, and in terms of the overall speed, the WALLHACK pad feels slightly faster, slightly more hovery, but the difference on my units here is very minimal. I do feel a bit more drag when going side to side when tracking on the Akari, but it is in no way a limiting feeling, and when going over to the WALLHACK pad, there is less drag and just overall a bit more hoveriness. So if you want even more raw aim than on the Akari, I would definitely go for the WALLHACK pad here, and I do also think that it has some more benefits to it, one of them being less maintenance heavy, because if there's ever any dust or hair on it, you go over it with your arm once and it's just gone. Whilst in the Akari, I definitely had to whip out my microfiber cloth quite sometimes. But if you don't want a super raw aim heavy feeling glass pad, the Akari could definitely be for you, adding that tiny bit more control and making it slightly more balanced. Compared to my Empress, the sound difference is actually pretty insane. My Empress here is much louder. I also do feel that there's slightly more friction on my skin and also on my skates here compared to the Akari. Whilst the Akari still has a slightly hovery feeling because of it being a pretty fast pad, the Empress here feels more balanced and it comes to a stop more easily. When I flick fast here over on the Akari, I can still feel my mouse sliding because I have difficulty stopping it completely. And on the Empress, that is just not a thing whatsoever. I can easily come to a quick halt at any point of time. So if that is something that you value a lot, definitely go for a more balanced type of glass pad like the Empress here. Yet again, I still have these tiny specks on the Akari that are kind of stuck into the surface where I need to grab my damp microfiber cloth. And on the Empress, I don't really have that issue, especially not to the degree as on the Akari on my unit here. If you're somebody that owns an Empress and you want something slightly faster and also just overall smoother, definitely go for the Akari. Compared to my pink Lotus Lotus over here, I yet again think that the Akari is slightly faster. It is a bit more difficult to come to a full stop. However, the difference here is very minimal. I also do think that the Pink Lotus feels very, very smooth on the skin, and I've also never had any skin sticking issues on this surface at all. And of all of the glass pads that I own, this might just be the closest pad to the Akari here. The surface is buttery smooth, and the sound that these skates make is also very similar. So if you want that Akari type of feel and just want it to be slightly slower, the Pink Lotus is definitely something that I can recommend. However, do keep in mind that this Pink Lotus is slightly thicker, and I do feel the edge sometimes being slightly annoying. And since I don't own a Super Glide, a Una, or the Skypad 3.0, my last comparison will be this black Pink Lotus. The black Pink Lotus is very textured feeling compared to the Akari. It has a lot more friction, it is very loud, and overall it's just not really an enjoyable experience, whilst the Akari is the complete opposite, being buttery smooth. No matter what preferences you have, I would definitely go for the Akari here because the black Pink Lotus is not it. And that is already about it. If this Akari were slightly slower so that it could come to a halt a bit more easily, but with the same smoothness and being less maintenance heavy, because I do find it a bit annoying to use personally, this pad would be the best thing since sliced bread. The smooth surface and me not having to use a sleeve no matter how hot it actually is, it's just fucking sick. It makes me actually enjoy a glass pad for once. But since it for me personally is a bit too maintenance heavy, I probably won't be using this too much. As you might already know, I am definitely not glass pilled. It is pretty difficult for me to actually get myself to use these things enough in order to do a good review where I really do cover everything and have enough experience to be sure that I know what I'm actually talking about. So most likely I will not really do too many glass pad reviews in the future unless it is something that I see myself really enjoying, because else I simply won't be able to use it enough. I'm much looking forward to seeing the future upgrades on the Akari, and I really do think that they have an amazing surface here that they can build upon and master. But before we do end the video here, I want to mention to you that we do have a Discord community called PERICORD, which is the one-stop shop for anything peripherals. If you're at all interested in mice, mouse pads, skates, Hall effect keyboards, audio, mechanical keyboards even, definitely join PERICORD.com if you want to be a part of our constantly growing community and live out your peripheral enthusiast hobby as much as you possibly can. I would also truly appreciate if you could hit that subscribe button and the notification bell right next to it if you're at all interested in these types of reviews, because I'm aiming to do 2 to 3 videos a week now. But other than that, that's about it for this video. I'll see you guys either here or over on Twitch very soon. Peace out.